For my findings, I'm going to talk about the discrepancy between the high price of tuition and fees and the low to average amount financial aid awards to students who apply for it. Because there is an average gradual increase in tuition of about 2% per year, the amount a student receives from financial aid should be more accommodating, but it actually isn't. Financial aid awards money based on the student's personal family revenue, as well as the total cost of the attending university. Even with all of this in mind, it's rare that they cover even half of the net price that's required, leaving students with very few options to pay for school. More often than not, this feeds into the problem of student debt, seeing as the place to turn to would be taking out a loan. Nearly 2/3 of bachelor's degrees recipients from public and private nonprofit institutions borrowed at least 60%. They graduated with an average of $28,400 in debt. In 2017, half of outstanding federal education loan debt is held by just 12% of borrowers who owe $60,000 or more. Another 50% of borrowers with outstanding federal education loan debt owe less than $20,000. Financial aid per undergraduate full-time equivalent student averaged $14,400 in 2016-2017. Grants from various sources accounted for $8,000, federal loans were $4,000, education tax credits and deductions were $1,000, and federal work study averaged $60. The rewarded aid can also come with a price. The federal government will offer students subsidized and unsubsidized loans, not completely relieving the problem. This makes college affordability unrealistic if they supply loans but can't supply half of the net tuition and fees. In a case where attending a university costs around $40,000, like it does for students who attend the University of Kentucky coming from out of state, $14,000 isn't as helpful as it may seem, especially when they will owe around at least $4,000 of that back to the government when they graduate or stop attending university. The federal financial aid should attempt to be more accommodating to the rise of tuition every year. They should also be aware of supplying more loans and grants, seeing as there's already a student debt crisis in the nation.
When looking at the increase of college tuition, we also have to account for room and board, which is a large portion of what campus students have to pay for. We see colleges building new dorms and spending millions of dollars on new buildings that are beneficial for students, but also costing students. In an interview with the founder of Sattler College on sattlercollege.org, Dr. Finney Caravelli says that universities are in a, quote, arms race that does not surround education, but yet spending money on fancy amenities that the universities are using to impress incoming freshmen, and in order to compete with other colleges in showing students, hey, look at our campus, we have fancier this and that. Room and board is a big part for students looking to move away from home and experience their first time on their own, which is why colleges focus on spending money on nice amenities to offer students an at-home experience. Kentucky Colonel did a report on UK's campus, and they looked into Kerwin Tower, which was a traditional dorm room offered at UK, but shut down in 2015. And it only costed students around $5,000 each year. They also found at UK the cheapest dorm was a 4-bedroom suite that cost around $8,000. And we can see now where UK has built the new buildings like Holmes Hall, which offers a kitchen on every floor. Room and board cost around $12,000 now. If colleges would cut their spending on new dormitories and fancy amenities, it would cut our costs for the students, and more students would be able to afford a college tuition. Colleges need to start focusing on bettering our education instead of the college experience.
Tuition is continuing to rise, basically, and how it's negatively impacting students. So the first article I came across was an interview with Mike Rowe on the high prices of college. And so in the interview, he states the cost of a degree has increased over 500 times the rate of inflation since the mid 80s. And after hearing this statement, I was in complete shock because education is one of the most important components of a successful life to some people in today's society. So, with prices constantly increasing, it only makes it harder for families to send their kids through school. In addition to the interview, I came across a speech by Michelle Obama that she did a few years ago on the prices of college. So, in this speech, she states one of the first steps is getting underserved people onto a college campus. This ties into our topic because she sees the importance of getting people who don't have a strong financial background into college. In addition, she states that it's so many promising young people who have the talent it takes to succeed, but they simply don't believe college can be a reality for them because it is unaffordable. This relates back to our topic because one of our main points is that students who can't afford college become discouraged about going. So this goes to show that it is an actual issue, that there are so many kids with potential who never get the opportunity to pursue college because it is unaffordable. So to continue, as I was on the UK database, I came across the article "College Tuition and Fees Compared with the Median Household Income." So basically, in the article, it states attending college had become less and less affordable for the average American family as increase in tuition and fees outpace income. So basically, this is just saying that the amount that the price of college is more than what the average family is bringing in each year. Okay, so finally, the last two articles I came across. The first one is an article by Tom Lindsay called "Sorry, but College is Too Expensive is Not a Myth." So basically, in this article, it states that in the past quarter century, tuitions have risen 440%, and as a result, students and their parents have amassed historic debt in efforts to keep pace with tuition hyperinflation. So with the constant increase in price for these universities, more students will begin to feel discouraged about attending. And also from the article, it discusses increasing federal student aid was only found to incentivize schools, resulting in eliminating any beneficial effects for the students. So this is saying that raising the prices isn't benefiting the students in any way, shape, or form. And finally, I came across the last article by Elizabeth Harris called "Behind the Problem of Student Homelessness." So in this article, it talks about the effects of students who don't go to college. So in the article, it states that 14% of students who fail to attend college will end up homeless. So after reading this, I was surprised at how high that number was because I felt like that is a historic amount of students who end up homeless simply because they can't afford the price of going through college.
While researching why the cost of college tuition has been steadily increasing over the years, I found several great articles through UK's database, also to be found on the UK's library website. Through analyzing these articles, I was able to determine one of the main issues of why college tuition has been becoming more and more expensive, being due to the takeover of private investors in our college. In one of the articles I found called "High Cost and Misdemeanors," the author states in the article that when his eldest daughter attended law school in 1981, it was essentially free of cost to any resident of the state. However, in today's world, tuition at UT Law is now $29,640 for residents and $45,720 for non-residents. When tuition at law school were meant to be and once were essentially free are now higher than ever. This goes to show how dramatically the price of college has increased in the last 40 years. The main cause of these large increase in tuition is also given to us in the article by stating, quote, "A major reason for the rise in the cost of state schools is that they are no longer state-owned, but private and act accordingly," end quote. As colleges continue to do this and become more private, they will have more private investors and college tuition will also continue to rise. Colleges are no longer just places where you receive a higher education, but become businesses as well. In an article talking about the rapid increase for tuition for non-residents, it states, quote, "External market forces such as the demand for education and now have price competition among neighboring states," end quote. This tells us that colleges are now constantly increasing their tuition rates based off of other schools' prices or due to the private investors' decision. Our country's capitalistic way of thinking has now taken over our colleges, costing their students thousands of dollars while leaving them in debt. In another article called Higher Education, Precarious Hold on Consumer Confidence, it states, quote, "The key statistic is that a college graduate's average lifetime earnings are nearly $1 million higher than the high school graduate without a college degree," end quote. By stating this, it shows that a college education is still a very valuable asset to have. Colleges take advantage of their students by using a college degree as a supply and demand method. Students know that in order to be successful in life, they need a college degree. And with colleges knowing this, they raise their tuition to make more money, while private investors become extremely wealthy through this process.